One of the questions I get most regularly when I tell people that I teach a class about restaurant operations is how do restaurants know how much food to make? How do you know how much food to make in order to not run out, but also not have excess, right? If you have too much excess, then that product could go bad, which means we've paid for the ingredients. If we don't get the sales for those items, then from there, our food cost is going to go up, our sales is going to come down. That's going to mess up our food cost percentage. Okay. And so I tell them a lot of it is all based on history. It's not working. A lot of it is based on the history. Probably a little. Oh, that's not. Hold on. Gee. Let's try it now. Nope. Okay. Let's sit down. I hate sitting down behind my computer, but I'm gonna have to do it. All right. So we talk about our sales history and our menu mix. So it kind of gives us an idea. Sometimes it's like a trial and error process. So if we're looking at our sales history, we can know basically last time we had Valentine's Day, this is how much product we sold. This is how many of each item we sold. So we can look at that history and get a historical number. We also can look at our menu mix. Okay. What is another way of saying menu mix? Think about chapter 4. We talked about it. What's that? In chapter 4, we talked about the menu analysis. Menu mix is anybody online? Nope, not the food cost. It's a type of percentage. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it the popularity?
Absolutely, it's the popularity percentage. So menu mix is the exact same thing as popularity percentage. Our menu mix tells us how many items were ordered of each type of item. And then that way it tells us what are our popular items, what are our least popular items. So we can use that popularity percentage in order to forecast what we're going to serve. So let's create a 4-item menu: hamburger, cheeseburger, chicken sandwich, and what's our 4th thing on our menu?
BLT.
What's that?
BLT.
BLT? Okay, cool. So I want you to give me the quantity of what we sold. Okay, we're gonna build this menu together, but give me a number that's between, I don't know, 0 and 100. Sorry, 0 and 200. Okay, but if you can make it in increments of 25, give me a number. Go ahead.
In increments of 25.
Increments of 25.
Just 25. 50.
50 cheeseburger or 50 hamburgers. Okay, excellent. Go ahead. 200 cheeseburgers. Okay. Let's go on this side. Chicken sandwich.
75.
75. And I'm just going to say 25 for my BLT. Okay. You'll see why in just a second. So we look for our popularity percentage. We have to add all these up, right? What is our total?
350.
350. Good. So now I'm going to divide each one by 350 to get my total items of my my popularity percentage. So 50 to, actually, let's start with the 25 first. 25 divided by 350 is equal to,
0.07.
okay, so it's 0.0714. So we're gonna call that 7.1%. Okay,
Wait,
right? Because we gotta move that decimal place over too.
wouldn't that just be 0.7? It's 0.07.
Right, so if it's 0.07, we don't have to say this first zero. We can just say 0.707. So we move that decimal place over one, keep that decimal. So 7.1%. All right, so if 25% is 7.1%, how much is 50%? Sorry, take that back. If 25 is 7.1%, how much is 50?
I think it's
14.2. See now why I want to do 25 increments? What is it if it's 75? 21.3%. And now we're going to multiply this by 8. So it's going to be 0.8. Awesome. And what's 7 times 8? 56%. We all see how that works? That's great if we have 350 people. What if we only have, I don't know, Brianna, give me a number between, I don't know, 0 and 600, but increments of 25.
425?
425. Okay, so what if we have 425 people coming instead of 350? How many of these items do we prepare? Well, over here we divided, right? So what's the opposite of division?
multiplication.
Multiplication. So now we're going to multiply by our total number of 425. Okay, and so we take that 7.1%, make sure you put that decimal place where it belongs. So 0.071 times the 425. That gives me 30.1. Okay. If we do 0.142 times the 425, we get 60.3. 425 times the 0.568 is 241.4. And then the 0.213 times 425 is 90.5. How do I check my work? You got it?
Add them all together.
Okay, we're gonna add them all up. And if we get close to that 425, then we're in good shape. So 60.3 plus 241.4 plus 90.5 plus 30.1, 422. So we're just off by a couple because of the rounding of the decimals. So we're pretty close. So that tells me how I can go up or down, right? So I can go, if I have less guests, well, I just multiply by that new number, use that same popularity percentage, that tells me I need to actually only prepare for 60 burgers and 241 cheeseburgers. So I need to have enough bacon for 30 BLTs. I need to have enough chicken sandwiches. I need to have 90 chicken sandwiches prepared. Okay. Do we see how this works going up and down?
Mhm.
Questions, comments, concerns about popularity percentage? And what allows us, or how is this related to cost saving measures? How is this related to helping us control our cost?
Do you know how many you need?
Being able to predict how much you need in the future.
Okay, so predict how much we need, so we know how much we might have to order. Might know how much we have to prepare. Let me give you a quick example. I interviewed some restaurant owners probably about 6 or 7 years ago. It was part of one of my homework assignments. And they told me that they found out that one of their one of their employees didn't understand the concept of FIFO, first in, first out, right? And so they would come in, they would make chicken salad. They get all the ingredients, they make the chicken salad filling, right? And then they would just put it there in the front. Well, they kept pushing containers to the back. They found one that was 3 weeks old.
Oh.
So obviously it was spoiled, right? But the interesting thing is, not only did they waste the money on those ingredients, they wasted the money on the labor it took for someone to make that food. So if it's the difference of making 100 hamburgers or prepare, like if you have to form, like take the beef, weigh it out, form it into patties. That's the difference of just arbitrarily saying, you know what, why don't you make 200 servings today? But if we can predict based on our percentages of what we're going to need, it helps us save in labor as well, not just in food costs. Okay. The other thing that we want to talk about, oops, I see a chat. Hold on, let me look. Yes, less food waste. Thank you so much, Samantha. All right, so the other thing we want to talk about is how we can adjust or scale up or scale down recipes, right? So if I have, let's say I have a cake and my cake serves 8 people, okay? If I need to feed 16 people, what do I have to do to my recipe?
Double.
I double it, right? So if I take what I need, 16 servings, and I divide by what the recipe makes, 8, my conversion factor is 2. So we just say we double it, okay? Or we triple it, we quadruple it. But at some point, there's not a name for that particular, really simple name. And also, it's not always an even number. We'll talk about that in just a second, okay? This conversion factor allows us to also not produce waste. Produce just what we need. So this conversion factor is really helpful if you're going to go into catering or if you're in baking and pastry and your recipe makes 6 cakes, but you don't need 6 cakes. You only need like 3 cakes or maybe 4 cakes. It helps you scale down your recipe or scale up if you need to. So if my recipe yields 4 servings and I need to serve 40 people, what is 40 divided by 4? 10. So my conversion factor is 10. Well, now we come over here. If my recipe calls for 3 pounds of pork, I multiply the 10 times 3 pounds, and that tells me I need to order 30 pounds. Okay, so we would just take that conversion factor and multiply it by all the ingredient amounts in that column to help us understand what we need to do and prepare for. Okay, how about we do the next one on your own? 32 servings, we need to serve 20 people. What is our conversion factor? And then how much flour does the recipe need for the scaled recipe? Those of you who are online, you can type your answer in the chat. Conversion factor. Caroline, what did you get for your conversion factor?
8.75 pounds.
Okay, so we got total 8.75 pounds. That's our answer at the end. What was our conversion factor?
Oh, sorry, it was 0.625.
Okay, so 0.625. So you can see because we are decreasing our amount from our normal recipe, this number is going to be less than 1, which means we're going to use less product. Okay. So in this case, I multiply that 0.625 times the 8.7 or times the 14 pounds of flour, and I'm going to get 8.75 pounds. That's how much I need to actually use for my recipe. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. Next topic. We're talking about baker's percentage. Okay. Where are my bakers at? Okay. So let me tell you, let me preface this discussion about baker's percentage with I teach baker's percentage from a math perspective, not an applicable practical perspective. So if your professors in baking and pastry arts tell you one way, I would probably follow their directions. Okay. So hopefully I don't confuse you. So baker's percentage is actually very similar to the popularity percentage that we just did. Okay, in a way, let me show you what I mean by that. So with baker's percentage, our flour is always what? 100%. Okay, our flour is always 100%. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to compare the other ingredients compared to that flour weight. Okay, and so when we divide 33 pounds, if we divide that by 50, go back to my pen. We divide by our 50 pounds, we're going to get 66%. Okay. The salt, we have 1 pound. If we divide that by 50, we get 2%. Sorry, this is really bad. For the yeast at 0.6 pounds, we divide that by 50 and we get that 1.2%. Okay. Those are our baker's percentages. So with 50 pounds of flour, how many 2-ounce rolls? How many 2-ounce rolls do you think we're going to get with a recipe that calls for 50 pounds of flour? Just to guesstimate. It doesn't have to be perfect. What do you think?
100 and no more.
100 and what?
No more.
Way more? So a 2-ounce roll, you'll probably get 8 per pound, right?
Mhm.
So what's 8 times 50? Go ahead,
400.
400? Okay, cool. So let's say we get 400 rolls. Do I need 400 rolls? Let's say I have a catering. I only have 120 people. Do I want to make 400 rolls?
No,
No, not only will that be wasted product, but it'll also be wasted labor to roll out 2-ounce rolls. Unless we got a baller like we do here at St. Philip's, you just put that dough in there and it makes the rolls for you. But we don't have that. So
200.
what's that?
200. If it's 100 people.
So if we need like 100, yeah, so we need 120 rolls instead of 400, right? So if I need 120, right? If we go back to this scenario right here, what I need 120 divided by what it makes 400. What is my conversion factor?
3.
Point what?
3.
3 exactly? Okay. So now, if I need 50 pounds for my original recipe, and I multiply that by 0.3, what do I get?
15.
15? Exactly 15?
Yes.
Cool. I love it. I like how even this is.
It's off.
So if 15 is my new flour weight, right? Now I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to multiply the 66% times 15 pounds of flour. So what is 15 times 0.66? 9.9? Okay, thank you. What is 15 times 0.02?
0.3.
0.3. And then 1.2, so that's that 0.12 times 15.
0.12.
0.012
Oh,
times 15.
1.8.
1.8. Okay, let's double check something because
no,
this,
0.18.
oh, so
0.18.
0.18. 0.18. Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Cool. So y'all see this is how we go up and down in our recipe. We use our conversion factor, apply that to our flour weight, and then we can go through and then multiply by each one of that new flour weight, right? So in a way, again, it's very similar to the popularity percentage. I like how math just kind of works out like that. All right. So we want to, in the process of producing our food, okay, we want to make sure that we're following our standard recipes. Why do we want to follow the standard recipes? So it's the same every time. It's the same consistency every single time. Why else?
You know how much you're using?
We know how much ingredients we're using, so that helps us with our cost to make sure we are not overusing ingredients. Okay, what else?
It'll always be presented the same way?
Good. It'll always be presented the exact same way. How many of you have ever been to a restaurant before where you ask who the cook in the kitchen is before you actually order your food? Right? Because I know if Daniel's cooking, the steak's gonna be perfect. Okay, but if Coda's cooking, well, then maybe I'm gonna order the chicken fried steak, or maybe I'm gonna order dessert because I know it's gonna come out perfectly, right? So we want to make sure that everything is consistent regardless who is cooking. Okay, so we know how much ingredients are being used. Okay, we want to use photos to make sure that everything looks exactly the same. So if four of us sit down at a table and we all order the same thing, when it comes out, everything looks identical. Okay. The photos is also, I mean, that's really something you can use in almost any situation. In hotels, we use photos for housekeeping so that the housekeepers know where the remote control is supposed to go, where the pen and paper is supposed to go, what the towel folding and where the amenities are supposed to go in the bathroom. So that way, when the guest walks in, it looks exactly the same in every single room. Okay. Taste testing before the meal. How many of y'all make food here at St. Philip's as part of your class? Okay. What did you make recently?
Uh, Last week I made the pan-seared chicken.
Okay, awesome. What'd you make, Jan?
Coconut cream caramel.
Ah, you did the flan. Today or yesterday?
Hey,
Today. Nice. How'd it turn out?
we're good.
Okay, good. Awesome. One more. Who else?
I mean, 7.
The salmon. Okay. Do you taste the food before it goes out?
Supposed to.
You're supposed to. The salmon might be hard because it's in that paper, right? You'd have to open up one of those papers to test the salmon. But other things, we want to make sure we're tasting the food before it goes out. Why?
Make sure it isn't bad.
Make sure it's not overly salty or overly seasoned.
Make sure
or-
the seasoning is perfect. Okay. But also maybe make sure we actually have the right seasonings. What if we accidentally grab sugar instead of salt? And now our soup is sweet instead of savory. Okay. And so it's really important we're tasting our food, one, as we go, but also definitely before it goes out. And then last thing, tasting it during the meal service. Sometimes, how many of y'all been a server in a restaurant? Anybody been a server in the restaurant before? When I was at TGI Fridays, oftentimes my manager would ask me to order, like he or she, depending on who the manager was, they'd ask me to place an order just for like 2 or 3 entrees. And what they were doing is they were just testing the cooks to make sure that even during the lunch rush, will the food come out consistently the same in the way it's supposed to? Okay, I don't say it's for the manager. I just let the cooks make the food and I bring the food out. The manager is going to make that assessment. They're going to taste test that during the lunch service. Okay. As we were talking about managing the production process, anytime we're in the prepping phasing, we want to ensure those proper holding temperatures. Okay. How does that relate to cost savings? Ensuring the proper holding temperatures.
We're not wasting, how to throw it out.
Yeah, so if something is within that time and temperature danger zone for too long, we have to toss it out. Okay? Whether that is during the preparation phase or whether it's during while it's on the line, right? If the soup has been on the line for over 4 hours, even though it's been held hot, we probably should consider replacing that soup. Just to make sure that it was within that, well, it never fell within that time and temperature danger zone. Okay. If we are making soup or a sauce and it's hot, we need to cool it down relatively quickly. How do we do that?
Ice bath,
An ice bath, good. How else could we do that? Just stick it in the fridge.
blast chiller.
If we have a blast chiller, that'd be awesome. Great, yes. Can we just stick that hot item in the fridge? Why not?
You break the fridge.
It's going to warm up the inside of the fridge, which that means even more product's going to go bad. Okay. So understanding those concepts of ensuring our proper holding temperatures is really important. Okay. And then carryovers. What can be used to tomorrow that's left over from today, or what can be tossed? Okay. So let me give you an example, and then I want you to come up with an example of your own as well. When I was the cook up in Maine, every Sunday, the first Sunday of the camp is a 2-week camp. So the first Sunday of the camp was always spaghetti. It was like a good home cooked meal for students that were away from home for the first time. So I didn't want them to I want them to feel comfortable at camp. And so we'd always do a spaghetti dinner. Well, as the cook, it probably wouldn't look great if I ran out of food on the first meal, right? So I always made a ton of spaghetti noodles because I didn't know how much the kids were going to eat. I didn't want to run out. But then I had all these leftover cooked spaghetti noodles. And so one summer, I was scrolling and I found a recipe for broccoli. What's that? Beef and broccoli, Asian, a beef and broccoli dish, right? And it reminded me the Asian Trinity. What is the Asian Trinity? Soy sauce,
Oysters?
not oyster sauce. The Asian Trinity is soy sauce, garlic, and
Ginger.
ginger. Good guess. Yes, right? So that's our Asian Trinity. I take some soy sauce, some ginger, some garlic, threw a little brown sugar in there for some sweetness. I toss that sauce with the spaghetti noodles that were already cooked. Throw some frozen vegetables like the Asian vegetables like the snow peas and carrots and water chestnuts, all that kind of stuff. Put that on top of the noodles, stick it in the oven. Boom, I have lo mein noodles for the students. They had no idea they were eating the spaghetti from 3 nights before. Okay? They were like, oh my gosh, this is the best lo mein ever. I'm like, great, I'm glad you enjoy that. Right? When I had the older students, like the college, like the seniors going into the high school seniors going into college, I would tell them my cooking secrets to help stretch their budget. But I would never reveal my secrets of how I reused food. If I had leftover mashed potatoes one night, okay, great. I'm going to save those. And in about 2 or 3 days, I'm going to have shepherd's pie. So I'll make like the gravy and the beef, and then I'll put the mashed potatoes on top, right? So not only does it save me time because it's already prepped, but I'm reusing that and I'm saving my cost. So who can give me an example of like a creative way to use leftovers in a carryovers type of situation? What's that?
Well, I'm thinking.
You're thinking, okay. Rice into rice pudding or horchata. Nice. Yeah, good. What's up?
Maybe if there's like too much like vegetables that are chopped up, use those just for future recipes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We have vegetables that are already chopped up and we use them for soup. Good. What else?
using like the rinds of the fruit, like citrus specifically, you can turn it into jam.
Nice, yeah. Jam, or maybe you can use them as like garnishes or things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Good. There was one time I did like we did a baked potato and salad bar. So I did like a really big salad bar. I had lots of different toppings chopped up. And then the next day I did an omelet bar because all the stuff was already chopped. So the students were really excited when I did a made to order omelet bar. So yeah, sometimes it's just using that stuff that's already done. Good. Love it. Any other questions, comments about carryovers? The benefit of that sometimes is you can say, okay, it's a special today, which means you have to get it today. It's not going to be here tomorrow. And so you add $1 or $2 to the price. Okay. Potato soup and say the potato skins for texture and garnish. Absolutely. Great example. Great example. You know, that's how TGI Fridays came up with I think that's how TGI Fridays came up with the potato skin appetizer, was from leftover baked potatoes. And they just chopped the baked potato off, and then they used that to make the potato skins to creatively reuse that. All right, so let's move on to beverages. Okay. How many ounces are in 1 cup?
8.
8 ounces, yes, good. How many ounces in a tablespoon?
Half.
Half of a fluid ounce. Good. How many ounces in a pint?
16.
16. How many ounces in a gallon?
128.
128. Good. How many ounces in a liter? Whoa, that's weird, right? Okay.
That's the metric.
So, liter is metric. The cups, pints, gallons, that's all imperial, right? America is probably one of the only 1 or 2 countries I think that actually uses that method. Most other countries use liters. And man, it is so easy to convert in liters because you have milliliters. 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. So it's really easy to convert, right? Same thing with grams. Okay. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we use ounces most of the time in a lot of our beverages and our liquid measuring. And so sometimes things come in liters, but we are measuring in ounces. Okay. And so this is a conversion that you just have to memorize, just like 8 ounces in 1 cup, just like half a teaspoon or half a fluid ounce is 1 tablespoon. You just have to memorize that 1 liter is 33.8 ounces. Okay. And this is important that you memorize 33.8 ounces in 1 liter. Typically, 1 liter is the size of the bottle for most liquor or spirits behind the bar. We might have 1.5 liters. Those are like the big handle ones. Okay. We might have smaller bottles, but generally 1 liter is the general size of most bottles of spirits behind the bar. We also have 750 milliliters. So you see how wonderful this conversion is? 750 milliliters is 0.75 of a liter. So nice. So if we take that 33.8 ounces and we multiply by that 0.75 of a liter, what do we get?
25.35.
25.35. So that's another one you want to memorize. Can we round this up to 25.4 ounces? Why not?
0.3, not point.
We could call it 0.3,
It
right? But we
wouldn't be
can't call it
75
0.4
ounces. Yeah.
because we can't create liquid out of nothing,
Yeah.
right? We can't round up. So 23.5, 25.35 ounces, okay? The reason why I include this 750 milliliters is because that is the standard size of a wine bottle. The standard wine bottle is going to be 750 milliliters. Okay. What's that?
I thought the 750 was a liquor bottle.
It could be too, The 1 liter is mostly in liquor bottles, is mostly 1 liter. They can come in 750 milliliters as well. But wine is mostly served in 750 milliliter bottles. Okay. So if I have a 6 ounce glass of wine, okay, and my bottle is 25.35 ounces. When I divide by 6 ounces, what do I get? 4 point what? You can use your calculators on your phone if you want to. 4.225.
225.
That means I'm gonna get 4.225 glasses out of each bottle of wine. Okay. This is not an industry standard, but most wine has about a 300% markup, which means if you're looking at a wine menu, beverage menu, and you see a glass of wine, let's say it's $12 for a glass of wine, chances are that restaurant paid somewhere around $12 for that bottle of wine. And then every time they serve glass 2, 3, and 4,
They get-
that's more of a profit. Because once you open that bottle of wine, if you're not a wine drinker, that's okay, no worries, you don't have to be. But you also have to understand once you open that bottle of wine and that oxygen hits it, it starts deteriorating. So that's why most often when a glass of wine is sold, if we only sell 1 glass out of that bottle, at least the cost of our bottle is covered. And then the rest of it is profit. Okay. This 0.225, this is what we call spillage. So that allows for us, what if our bartenders pour 6.2 ounces instead of 6 ounces exactly? Right? It still allows us to help to get to that four glasses of wine. All right. So any questions, comments, concerns about this information? Just like with our food, we can also keep track of our beverage standards and how much we're spending on our beverages. So we are going to, I'm going to go over these two videos in just a moment. I'm going to do an activity first so I can get the recording here on Canvas and on YouTube. I will stop the recording of the lecture when we watch the videos because YouTube doesn't like you to post other YouTube videos and then post it on your
Yeah.
video, right? So I will stop the recording for class as soon as we go into the videos. So if you are online and you have access to this chapter 7 in-class discussion notes, I would say go ahead and pull them up. If you are here in class, you can just take a look here and we'll go over them. Okay, so we buy a 750 milliliter bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey for $22.09. Okay. A standard pour is 1.5 ounces. So how many servings should we expect to get from one bottle? 750 milliliter was how many ounces?
25.
25, 23.
25.35 ounces. So if I take that 25.35 ounces, divide by the 1.5 average standard pour, how many servings do I get?
16.9 servings.
16.9. Can I round this up to 17?
No.
No, I cannot create liquid out of nothing. Okay. I don't want to drink that. That means I probably put water in there to get it up to a little bit more. I don't want to water down. Okay. So 16.9 servings. You can choose whether or not you want to go with 16 servings or you can do 16.9. It's fine. What does that 0.9 represent?
Oh, left over in the bottom, spill
a
it.
little bit on the bottom, which helps account for that spillage. So in case somebody pours just a little bit extra, then that helps cover that. So our cost per serving, if we do $22.09, that's how much it cost us. And let's go with 16 servings. 22.09 divided by 16 is $1.38. Okay, so it costs me $1.38 for every 1.5 ounce pour of Jack Daniels. Okay, if we sell it on the rocks for $7.50, how much money should we get from one bottle? So it's not 750, $7.50 times 16 servings is
120 even.
so that means when that bottle is empty, I should have at least $120 worth of sales in my cash register. Okay.
Expensive. Nice.
$7.50 is not that expensive for that. That's actually a really low price. I would say probably for Jack Daniel's on the Rock, you're probably looking, depending on the restaurant where you are, would be looking at either anywhere from $12 to $18.
Hey,
What? Oh, yeah, depending on which restaurant you're going to. Okay, so if the bartender only gets 13 servings out of that bottle instead of all 16, okay? So 16 minus 13 is what?
Sean, you already make that one.
3. So we are short 3 servings. And we multiply that by the $7.50.
You lost
So I lost how much?
$22.50.
$22.50 in sales is what I lost. I still paid the cost of the ingredient to sell it, to serve it, but I only got 13 instead of 16 servings. So let's extend this. If this happens every day for the whole year, let's call it 360 days, right? We're going to be closed for at least 5 days out of the year. So 2250 times 360 is what could you do with an extra $8,000? How could your business improve with an extra $8,000?
Something more.
Get a nice reservation
Okay.
or I forgot.
Hire better equipment. You might have software to manage your reservations better. Okay.
Something more need like repairs.
Some things might need to be repaired. Absolutely. Okay. And that's just one beverage. That's not the whole bar. That's $8,000 on one beverage. Okay. Let me give you this example. I just thought about this. I didn't share this with my other classes. So I went to a dinner, probably it was during the summer or during the fall. I can't remember when it was. Anyways, well, I know exactly when it was. It was September. I had an invitation to come to a dinner at the St. Anthony Hotel, and they were featuring a whiskey. And so the person I was sitting next to at the table, they actually work for Specs Wine and Beer, okay, or Wine and Foods or whatever it's called, right? So their job was to go to all the bars and all the restaurants. They had clients and they would basically help them fill those orders. That was their job as a salesperson. And see, okay, what products do you have? What products do you need? Hey, you know what? We have this new product. You want to give it a shot, add it to your menu, see if you like it. Okay. So, not a lot of people like to pay for that extra service of having a salesperson come by. They like to just go and pick up their stuff and whatever, right? But she was saying one time there was a restaurant, she didn't name the name, but they had a special margarita during happy hour, and it was a $5 margarita. Okay, now with the $5 margarita, it was a very cheap tequila, right? They didn't want to give you like Jose Cuervo or Patron or whatever, right? They wanted to use a little like a less quality tequila because they're selling you a drink for $5. Okay. And so she said this promotion was going on for about 2 months, and then she ran their sales numbers. And so the tequila that they're supposed to be using in that margarita, they'd only ever ordered one box over 2 months. And so one day she was chatting with the owner and she was like, "Hey, what's going on with this margarita, $5 margarita bar special for happy hour?" She's like, "Is it not going well?" And he's like, "No, it's going awesome. People love it. It's so great. We sell them all the time." And she's like, "Well, that's funny because in 2 months you've only bought one box of the tequila, but I see this higher price tequila. You're selling a lot of it. You're going through a lot of this tequila."
Oh.
And his face just dropped because his bartenders were using the more expensive margarita, the tequila, which means they were actually losing money every time they sold that margarita. Right? So important for us to keep track and keep up with those kinds of things, right? Very similar to, I don't think we've talked about it in depth, but very similar to the all you could eat shrimp debacle. You all heard about that with Red Lobster, right? Anybody not hear about that?
So how that almost put them out of business, right?
They actually filed for bankruptcy, $11 million because people ate more shrimp than they gave them credit for. And so the price wasn't high enough. People ate more than what they should have. But it got to $11 million. Like what? What?
I mean, they
I
are.
mean, I would assume after like the first million, I'd get concerned. I don't know after 11 million why I would let it go that long. But we have to follow up on these types of things when we're going to make sure that they're going well. We don't have to be like, "Oh yeah, let's look at our sales number. Yeah, people are loving it. This is great. Okay, great. People are buying it. But what is it doing to our actual cost, to our actual bottom line, okay, to our actual profit?" So before I hit stop, I need everybody to raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I say your name.
Daniel,
Chan.
Promise
promise.
to not think about Mr. Uminski's class
Not thinking about Mr. Music's class.
until after spring break is over.
Until after spring break is over.
Okay, it's on recording. You guys have promised. To not think about my class during spring break. That is what it's for. Turn your brain off. Okay. Don't think about my class. I can't talk about your other teachers. I'm not gonna give you homework during spring break. Okay. But I can't vouch for the other professors, but I'm not going to do that.
Swear.
Oh, you're right.
Like for.
All right. Let me stop the recording.
Yeah.